Alrighty guys, as the here brings us another Dragon Ball Legends TOP guide video regarding Season 51. So last season we ended rank 2479 with Regeneration, which is pretty damn good, especially since we tried out a new unit with the free-to-play Purple Buuhan. So we did secure that juicy 1000cc, which is always going to be the goal of these videos. So before we move on, there will always be timestamps in the description down below, that way you guys can go ahead and get to where you need to go. So the first thing we have here is our pathing. Remember, this is a loosely based path. Sometimes it will change, but the only things that pretty much change is the blue path itself, not the circled fights, because the circled fights are important as they are relevant to our streak, right? For our win streak bonus, it goes in increments of 5, 10, 15, 20, and then 25, right? All of those fights are important because that's where you will score the most amount of points. So now let's go ahead and move on to tips and tricks, where we basically go over the most difficult fights within our pathing or just within the board in general. The first tip that I can give you guys though is to increase your friendship rank. I get this comment so frequently, is Azdeek, what does friendship rank have to do with the game mode of TOP? So this is what it has to do with this. So we have our Majin Buu good. His friendship rank is at 10, so we can see these TOP stats. It gives you a direct increase across all of your stats right here. One of the most important stats that I like to look at is Ki Restore speed. We see Fat Buu at 2,523, right? If we look at regular stats, that will not be the case. His Ki Restore speed is 2,403, so it's about 100 less than what we see at the TOP stats, right? That is a direct correlation to that friendship rank. That's why you guys want to go ahead and get that friendship rank 10. That's essentially where it caps out. Easiest way to get your friendship rank up is through the Let's Fight events. You get 3 of them per day. Make sure you guys are doing them. So the first fight we'll look at here is this Android 13 movie fight. Basically, the only thing that I want you guys to keep notice of, or just to basically keep track of, is Android 13. If you kill the other androids before killing Android 13, he will get a buff from it. That's why you will see me prioritize 13 before I go for 14 or 15. So the next fight we're going to cover is this Ultra Broly fight right here. Tapion will reduce your super gauge to 0 on turn 2, only for one of your units, not for your entire team, but it can be annoying. If you can get him out on turn 1 easily, then I do advise doing so, but prioritize the Broly, because also on turn 2, what Broly does is he will stun you. Getting stunned is going to prolong the match. You don't want to prolong the match, right, because that's just extra damage that you're going to be taking. So this is probably like one of the most annoying fights in the board that we're going to be seeing right here. I would say prioritize Beerus first, because he will stun you at the start of turn 2. But the reason why this team is so annoying is Jiren will stun you turn 1. Nothing you can do about it. If you don't get Beerus on turn 1, he will stun you at turn 2. Obviously MUI does have the counter, so he'll mitigate an attack while doing damage to you, and the Brigadmo, he also has a counter, so he'll mitigate an attack as well. If you can, save super attacks for the stage. Next, we have the infamous Kid Gohan stage. All you have to do here is make sure to kill Kid Gohan first. If you guys are on turn 1 and you know you can get Kid Gohan and Beerus in turn 1, then do that. Go for those 2 units. But if you can't get Beerus in turn 1, it's okay. Just make sure you go for Kid Gohan first. We have another Ultra fight up here. Again, make sure to kill Broly first, because he will stun you on turn 2. Everyone else should be relatively easy to take care of. I would prioritize Red Legends Limited Cooler right after the Broly though. Next, we do have this girl stage right here. Personally, I like to go for the androids or the tag droids first and foremost, and then Green Mai, right? Because Green Mai will stun you at the end of turn 2, so you have a little bit of leeway here. And then after her, I would honestly just go for double greens, because that urine can hit extremely hard. Do not sleep on that urine. She will slap your blue units around. We also come across this fight like 2 or 3 times in our pathing right here. The only unit you have to worry about, this is a very easy fight. The only unit you have to worry about right here is the Purple Bojack. He will super attack you at the end of turn 2. So again, you have some leeway with that right there. You can do as you wish. You can get maybe the Gohan out of the way on turn 1 and then focus on the Bojack, right? You have some time. So next we have this God Key fight, which is a little bit annoying as well, because you have Tapion right there. He will reduce that super gauge for one of your units on turn 2. So if you can get him and Beerus out on turn 1, that is the ideal way to go. If not, then I would say just prioritize Beerus That way you don't get stunned on turn 2. And then make sure Vegeta Blue is up there on units that you have priority on, right? Because he does have the chance to attack twice if you're bringing in a red unit here. Probably won't be bringing in a red unit here, to be honest with you guys. There's no yellows, but it just... that opportunity to hit twice, he can hit pretty hard. Next, we have this mono red stage with the inclusion of blue metal cooler right here. Ideally, I would want to get Tapion before the end of turn 1, tag droids, and then Super 13 before turn 3, right? Because turn 3 is when that Super 13 will super attack you, gets a guaranteed super attack. He has a relatively high key restore speed. If you're not confident in getting all 3 of those units before turn 3, then I would suggest then just take the hit from Tapion, reduce one of your super gauges down to 0, go for tag droids and Super 13, and then so forth. If I missed any fights that you think are important that should have been brought up, let me know in the comment section down below. Alright, so now let's go ahead and move on to the best teams for the specific game mode, right? So first up we have USS/Rival Universe. This team gets a lot of value from containing units who consistently remain in Z tier, right? Amongst these units, you see Urine a lot. She applies debuffs and she is able to farm super attacks very, very quickly. She is one of the most important components here. Next, we have green Dispo and yellow Topo. So these two are somewhat of a package deal as they have amazing synergy. Within Dispo's kit, he buffs 15% to critical rate for 1 turn and 15% to critical damage inflicted for 1 turn. In yellow Topo's kit, he's able to buff 10% to damage inflicted by Rival Universe and 20% to ally tag Rival Universe critical rate for 1 turn. As for replacements, I personally think Blue EX Kale belongs here due to the healing she provides for the team. I've also seen this team being ran with Ultra Hit, so you can do that if you want a quote-unquote better team at the cost of points. I also believe Blue Topo is good here, but is heavily recommended to use him with a healer such as Blue Kale. The most valuable thing about Blue Topo is the fact that he gets all of the aggro for 1 turn, right? So meaning that all enemies will focus on solely him and none of the rest of your team. So the next team we have is girls. This team does share some similarities with USS or Rival Universe, as you will commonly see Urine and Blue EX Kale, both of which are nearly necessities to this team. So you can see on the right hand side, this person is using the red launch. She can be replaced by free-to-play Red 21, as you see right here, but at the cost of some points, of course, right? Because she does reside in C tier, but she is just so damn amazing. Alternatively, if you don't want to run Red 21, you could also run Red 18, who is in A tier, and she will also provide double heals as well as debuffs. She's a very good option here too. 1000 Day Bulma can be replaced by Purple Mai, as they share some similar attributes right here in terms of providing support for your team, but she's definitely not as good, so don't expect her to be as good. And the Zenkai Caulifla can be replaced by this purple Kakunza. Again, will not be as good, but still provides buffs for the girls' tag. Next up is Super Warriors. This is a relatively easy team to build, minus the blue TN. But the thing here is that they're extremely limited in terms of what units you can use and what units you can replace units with. EX Piccolo is needed here as your main healer, right? You can see the tiles that are highlighted is the tiles in which he will be providing those heals, which is a pretty great radius. I also like this green TN here a lot because he does possess a solar flare that he can activate at the start of turn 2. He is in C tier, so just use him to your advantage, use this wisely. As for replacements, Namek Krillin can be used here since he also does have a solar flare, so you can be running 2 solar flares, plus he does have the supportive Zenkai stats here. And instead of that blue TN, maybe you could use this blue Zenkai Kamikalo, right? Because he does farm super attacks pretty easily. The only thing that I'm concerned about with him is the fact that he doesn't heal himself like the blue TN does. That's probably why the blue TN here is superior if you have him at high stars. I've also seen people dive into C tier and just pick up the ultimate Piccolo, so I'm assuming that the same could go for Master Roshi. Master Roshi could probably work here as well in specific circumstances, but again, like I said, you don't have a wide selection of units and you're already bringing 2 C tier units on your backup. You don't want to overload it with the C tier units, right? Because this is going to be somewhat of a difficult team to use. And so now we have the return of Sun Family. I'm pretty much only including this team because I think it's going to be a bit popular due to the fact that in S tier, we do have the Kid Goten. Well, I mean, I guess that's the only form of Goten that we pretty much get, right? We do have the yellow Goten, the transforming one, insane key restore speed, right? Plus the guaranteed super attack, as well as the Kaioken Zenkai Goku, the blue one, who also gets a guaranteed super attack. Both of these units are in S tier. This is a massive opportunity. Another amazing opportunity that this team has is using the new LF if you desire to do so. They get a guaranteed Transcendent Kamehameha on turn 4, and they have a lot of healing potential. Using the green Namek Goku here as a healer is somewhat needed, and having the yellow Goku on bench as backup healer or even double heals will ensure the survival. That's what you see on the right hand screen. But if you don't have that yellow Goku, do not fret. I'm sure the Angel Vegeta will do just fine on your backup, just in case, as a overall healer as well, because he will heal your entire board by 3%. This team that's built right here on the right hand side is insane specifically, though, because you have guaranteed super attacks from Goten, Kaioken Goku, the tag unit, and even the purple Spirit Bomb Goku gets 50% a fight, as well as the Zenkai Kid Goku, so they are going to be super attacking every other fight guaranteed too. Replacements can include the Zenkai Blue Gohan, who will be needing a healer alongside him. That's what you see on my end of things. This guy used to absolutely terrorize everyone who played this game mode, right? Because he was like one of the most meta-dominant units here, just because of the fact that he mitigates all, or not mitigates all attacks, but he takes all the aggro for one turn, just like how Blue Topo does. And finally, the team that we will be using, Regeneration. As always, we bring in Super Baby 2 regardless of tier. I don't care that he's in C tier, he could be in no tier. We're bringing him in. Unfortunately, our Z tier units this season are absolute garbage, and I don't really care for any of them. If we move on to S tier though, we do see the Red Buhan here. That Red Buhan is phenomenal. If you have him, use him. We are going to opt out of using him simply because I know most of you guys probably don't have him. Maybe that's a wrong assumption, I don't know, but we do need a red, so we will be using free-to-play Zenkai 21. Unfortunately, she is in C tier. We're going to have to rely on going to the more difficult fights to accumulate our points. We will be using the blue Kamikolo for damage and blue card generation, purple Janemba for damage mitigation and overall tankiness. If you need any replacements for this team, just let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure we can figure something out. Alright, for the final segment of the video, we will be talking about the new characters. The tag unit, Goku and Vegeta, aka the Boo Boys, is what he's been dubbed as. He does have a blue card. He's a tag unit, of course, so I expect him to reverse elemental factors. 80% to damage inflicted, 20% to blast damage, minus 20% to damage received, plus 30% to key recover. Oh, we didn't even look at the key recovery. What am I doing? Key recovery is kind of bad. So 2,328, that can increase the friendship rank, of course. But he does get an extra 30% to key recovery right here, which is pretty damn good. At the start of the first turn, he does activate the green card, 20% to damage inflicted, plus 10% to key recovery. So there it is. His key recovery is okay. It doesn't even matter because he's getting percentage buffs to it. And on attack against unfavorable element, you get straight up another 30% to damage inflicted. On receiving an attack against unfavorable element, minus 20% to damage received. Okay. And at the start, he does have a cover change. I don't really care about that because it's health restrictive by a lot, by 30%. That's a lot. At the start of the third turn, performs a tag switch and reverses element. Oh, okay, so this is interesting. So he doesn't perform it like on facing up against unfavorable element. He just performs it on the third turn. You restore your health by 4%, 15% to damage inflicted, and you enter the Transcendent Kamehameha prep mode. If this character is defeated, it will be cancelled. Activates the Transcendent Kamehameha when this character attacks on the fourth turn. A guaranteed ultimate, essentially, right? That's kind of crazy. And the following effects occur upon activation. Perform a tag switch and reverse on element factors. Deals massive damage. Cannot be cover changed. Cannot be evaded or nullified by special actions. It's safe to say, any unit that can get a guaranteed ultimate, blue card, anything like that is going to be good. So I do want to take a look at this purple Trunks as well because I know we missed out on him. Let's look at his ToP stats. Key restore speed's pretty low, 2,300. Does have a blue card and an ultimate ability. Let's see, 70% to damage inflicted, minus 50 or plus 50% to damage inflicted over 2 turns, 20% damage cut, 20% to key recovery, more a percentage buff on this unit, really. Does have a buff against God Key, huh? 10% to damage inflicted, and plus 5% to special move gauge. Would have liked to see that a little bit more, right? And on the Strike Arts hit, you have a 25% chance to follow up with another Strike Arts. Okay. So Vegeta Blue effect, basically. He has a cover change, right? But it's health restrictive by 30%. I do not like that. At the start of the first turn, you get 30% to special move damage inflicted, 30% to ultimate damage inflicted, and 25% to special move gauge. That's pretty good, right? Because you're getting 30% to special move gauge a fight at least, right? That's pretty nice. And on special move arts, you inflict the attribute downgrade plus 15% to damage received. On ultimate arts, it inflicts attribute downgrade plus 25% to damage. I don't think he's that great, but he's good, right? He's not like amazing or anything, but he's good. Now let's take a look at the second form cell right here. ToP stats 2,305 your key restore. What about after transfer? 2,651 is pretty damn good. He does have a regular blue card. So let's take a look at this. 60% damage inflicted, minus 25% to damage received. He applies buff effect, nullifies attribute downgrade once. Buff effect restores 10% of all. So he heals himself essentially. That's pretty good. At the start of the first turn, if there is an enemy android, you get 15% to damage inflicted. Okay, so he wants to go against androids. Start at the second, or end the second turn, you transform, get all these buffs, 25% to damage, 15% damage cut, 50% to key recovery. He does not need that, but we'll take it. That's crazy. Plus 20% to special move gauge, and at the start of the third turn, if there is a tag Saiyan, 10% to special move gauge. So he's getting it at the same rate as Trunks at this point in time, right? Let's see, he has a cover change as well. Again, 30% health restriction. At the start of the turn, according to number of enemies remaining, 6 enemies plus 20% to damage inflicted, 5 enemies plus 25, 4 enemies plus 30% to damage inflicted. I would say he's like on the same level as Trunks. He might be a little bit better than Trunks, but definitely on the same level. I think his transformation and his key recovery is what puts him over the edge. Alright, that being said, that's going to go and wrap up the video for today. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. If you guys enjoyed the content, let me know by leaving a like, a comment, maybe even consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Later!